history, things that don't offend parts of the MAGA base, right? So we're now literally reviewing parts of American history and parts of American culture to make sure it comports with dear leader and what the MAGA
Can we
organization
address
wants.
some of those things that are in there? Because have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay, he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you look at
slavery,
let's talk about the fact
that slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
So Jai, do you even agree? Like, do you even like that 2% nonsense that you're saying? Like, I'm like, really? I mean, come on. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I do, in a sense, agree that I think the negative things that we talk about in our history is a little bit too much. And as people, we need to also remember we don't want our past to dictate our future.
Slavery existed. I mean, there's no denying that. This whole thing about 2% owned slaves, and so we shouldn't talk about the past, or history is what makes you not want to repeat it.
Quickly, police are only aware of 2% of all crime.
Of all crime that existed. Exactly. So it's like, it's only 2%, so we shouldn't talk about it. No, you learn history so you don't repeat what happened in the past. And I noticed, like, you're getting all animated and stuff, and I get that. You know, it's a Caribbean thing. Like, you slow down. I'll explain. Let me explain. I get it.
Now I know why we all hate Africans over here in North America.
Oh my goodness.
Joking.
Oh man,
I'm joking.
Context. I say it's a Caribbean thing because you're closer to it. So when people talk about it, you get more enraged, which makes sense. Like, I'm from a lineage where, there were returned slaves to Nigeria. So that's different. But even with that, there's no, because I still have that, a lot of the culture was retained as opposed to the Caribbean where the culture was lost. Even Black America was even worse. So it's like when people make topics like that, when especially non-Black person says something like that, I understand why you'd be enraged. It's annoying because you're the victim and you feel the impact the most.
Well, first of all, don't tell me how I can be enraged. I'm just saying. Like, you don't need to tell me how I need to be enraged. I'm just calling it out.
Okay.
Calling it out respectfully.
Fair enough.
My family just flew in from New York. They're all from Jamaica. And I think they're almost going to be permanent residents because my aunt sponsored them. So what I'm trying to say is there's no history, there's no culture, there's no passed down tradition that I have that I can hold on to. And so just not to get off on the main topic, but it's frustrating even when I see Americans dissing Canadian Blacks and you know what I mean? It's just stupid.
Yeah.
You know, the Underground Railroad ended in Canada. You know that, right? Like,
people don't understand.
We're all connected. If you're a minority in North America, we are connected. It's silly. Yeah. But I think that's the challenge. That's why us Caribbeans get more enraged, because we have no culture, and the culture that we do have, or our history, is this, and they are
trying to whitewash it.
Thank you.
Yes. No, and I think this is a very important conversation, because the message to my African brothers as well, because I know y'all are guilty of some of these things sometimes, but you have to look at it from another person's perspective. And I think I share that sentiment with you, as well as my sphere of influence, people that, Nigerians around me as well. We think alike, where it's like, you don't look down on somebody because they lost their culture, or because there's a lot of arrogance in my community around these.
Just about to say that. Yeah. I was just about to say that. Sorry to hold your thought real seriously. Yeah. I went to they're all Ghanaian. It was great. It was a birthday party. My son was invited. It was all
people from
Ghana, and it was great. But I really felt like an outsider. They're saying their language, they're talking in their own language, and I was just like, I can't understand you. Are you trying to like?
I think it's awareness. And honestly, like, I can honestly say I've been in that situation, but they're not doing it to spite you out of, it's ignorance, but not ignorance in a negative connotation that you would look at it. It's from the perspective of they're more comfortable with their language. And to be honest, we see it, you would see it as disrespectful and not nice because you understand what they're saying. But when you look at it from their perspective, they just see you as one of them. So they speak like that because, okay, fine, you don't understand, but in their minds, you're one of us.
Do you think there's, because of that type of, you don't get as heated? It sounds like you don't get as heated. You guys are more kind of reserved. It's part of your culture. The rise to frustration is a little bit slower, right?
Yes.
Do you feel, and this is just a personal thought to you, do you feel like people in North America and the US, particularly the men or the minorities there, are a little bit too heated? Like they are overly aggressive unnecessarily? Because that might perpetuate why we get boiled and frustrated a little bit faster. Do you think there's a correlation, or I'm just kind of
it's possible
imagining this?
I mean, there's something I was listening to something, and some guy was talking about the difference between Africans and blacks in diaspora and Caribbeans and stuff. And he's like, there's a confidence issue. And I remember he saying he was saying confidence, and there was another thing he said. But what I took out of that is this: Caribbeans and especially Black Americans are more confident. They're very confident because this is their environment. They know who they are.
Yeah.
But they have more anger. And the reason for the anger is the trauma. That's normal. Like, I mean, you're going to be angry at you. I don't know my culture. I don't know my ancestry. I don't know where I'm, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's that anger built up and resentment towards society, towards anybody. So you see that anger build up. Africans, it's not that we're not angry, don't get me wrong, but in this environment, it's like we're calmer because we're not.
You can be deported.
Thank you. that too. I think that's a big reason is, man, I know I'm here. I'm just trying to make money at home, so I'm not going to be angry. So there's a reason behind that, right? But I think there's the confidence, you guys have that, right? But the anger is where we don't have as much. So there's not as much resentment, and it's historical.
Now, I know you're a bit biased because you are kind of Canadianized, let's be honest. No?
You think so? Go ahead, man. I'm messing with you.
You know why I think you are is because I have other African friends, and they're very big in their statements. They'll say, "Oh, you're the Ubu tribe," or "You're this." They're very statement oriented. I don't find you statement oriented.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you
Get
what
it?
it is.
So am I wrong?
No. I'll tell you what it is.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what it is. And I think it's because of my dad was a military background, so there's always been an understanding of embracing others and being disciplined. So the way I look at it is like this. And to answer your question, we have to embrace each other's cultures. You can't say this culture, I want to learn Nigeria. You can learn other cultures, but embrace it. I'll give you an example. I don't
think that's possible. You're saying the bridge?
Hold on. I'll give you an example. The music.
Okay.
There's hip hop and there's Afrobeat.
True.
We just need to embrace both. I'll embrace yours, you embrace mine, and both should coexist.
The challenge is that other races, there's a culture that they have a common thread. That is a huge disadvantage that we have. I have no connection to your culture, and that's the problem. And the only thing I would say is you have a certain race that have threaded on the skin color, but even that's fractured. You know what I mean? You got now people didn't know in the history, Europeans was not considered white.
Yeah.
You had olive skin, you're not considered white.
You're not considered white, yeah. I know,
so what I'm saying is that's not really a threat. It's more you're changing the rules to align to a certain commonality thread. So what I'm saying is, unless we do the same thing and just say, hey, we're all this melanin, but I think we've realized that doesn't work. In the long term, that doesn't work, especially when we don't have economic power. So my whole thing is we should bridge. And I think what you're saying is fundamental, but there's a perception and then there's a reality. And the reality is that I feel we need to find some commonality among us. It's not our color, but then it should be culture, but I have no connection to your culture. So what do we do? So and maybe it's a rhetorical question.
It's a rhetorical question,
never be answered.
I'll end it with this. Money solves a lot of problems. The moment we all stick together to get economic stability, as a culture and as people, as a race, all this goes away.
So you mean like circulating our money among our people,
Exactly.
having that initiative?
Having that economic power. The moment we can get that, trust me, all of
I
this,
agree.
he's African, he's this, he's Caribbean, it goes away.
I agree.
Because money talks.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Yep.
All right, guys. This KevJai Podcast. Let us know if you guys have any thoughts. Keep the discussion flowing in the comments. All right, guys. It's been a great one. God bless you guys.
Bye, guys.